Hello, hello, everyone. It is Record Store Day time yet again. Woohoo! Record Store Day 2022. I hope you are all excited. And before I hop into my list of what I want to get this Record Store Day, I just want to give my thoughts on their new structure here, which I really appreciate given the state of the vinyl industry. In case you haven't heard, Record Store Day now is going to be split into 2 days. The first day is a typical day in April, like we all know and love. And then later on, we're going to have another record store day in June that's more of like a backup record store day. And on that day, we're going to be seeing titles that could only be pressed in time for June, but we're also going to be seeing records that end up being delayed, which if you've been paying attention at all these past year or so, I guess, that tends to happen more often than normal, and I'm really glad they're doing this. Also, just to take the load off of record stores in general, I've heard horror stories from plenty of record store owners where their boxes come in like hours before record store day and they never know exactly what they're going to get, so they have to update their lists, and hopefully this will alleviate the strain on them a bit. So good on record store day for making this better for both the record stores and the consumers. Okay, and now we're going to launch into the records that I definitely want to get this year, my top picks, as it were. And with that, we're going to start off with the James Blake Covers EP. I'm super excited about this one. I've really wanted a pressing of this. And here it is. We have covers from Frank Ocean and Billie Eilish, among others. These were a string of covers that James Blake was releasing, I believe, last year. I don't think it was 2020. I think it was 2021. But yeah, I'm very excited. This is finally on vinyl. Also, a really, really exciting record this year is the Pixies live at Coachella 2004. This is their big comeback set. I believe Kim Deal is also on this playing bass. This was before she left the band. But you just look at the track list here and it hits all the way through. Any Pixies fan, I think, would love this. I haven't actually heard the set before, but I'm hoping they got a good recording from the board off of this, and yeah, I'm excited to see the packaging. Also, kind of a personal favorite for me, but And You Will Know Us by the Trail of Dead is reissuing their Madonna album. This is kind of their second most well-known record, I believe, besides the Source Codes and Tags record, but I was lucky enough that I saw them on tour, touring the anniversary of this album and playing it all the way through, and that was a super, super fun night. I really, really enjoyed it, and it's been an album in my constant rotation ever since, so yeah, this will give me an excuse to finally pick it up. And I'm not going to pick this one up, actually, because I already got the previous reissue from Get On Down, but Viktor Vaughn, or MF Doom's Vaudeville Villain, is being released for Record Store Day. This has been a long time coming. This record's been out of print for a while, and the demand has shot up, of course, ever since Doom's passing. But Get On Down released a silver variant, which I was lucky enough to pick up, and now they are reissuing this album for Record Store Day. There's 10,000 units. No notes on colors or anything different in this pressing as opposed to the previous pressing. But yeah, come June, you will finally be able to own this one on vinyl, which is exciting if you don't already have it. In the same vein, Handsome Boy Modeling School, which is Dan the Automator and Prince Paul, their album So How's Your Girl is getting a small reissue, 2,500 copies for Record Store Day this year. I have the Vinyl Me Please copy of this, and I cannot say enough good things about this album. It's so diverse and fun. If you haven't listened to it, give it a shot. I think this is just a black vinyl pressing, but this is also another classic hip-hop album that kind of goes in and out of being in print. So yeah, pick this up or listen to it if you haven't already. And to close out this section, I want to talk about two titles that were delayed from the Black Friday Record Store Day of last year. Angelo Badalamenti's Blue Velvet and Caliucci's Sin Miedo are both coming to Record Store Days this year. If you want to hear me talk about that, you can look back at my previous video, but needless to say, I'm excited. All right, up next, I'm going to be talking about a few other interesting looking pressings here. I'm not super interested in getting them, but you might be. So let's just hop right in there with Miss Record Store Day ambassador herself, Taylor Swift, is doing a 7-inch pressing of The Lakes. I was surprised. I thought she would do something a little bit more for Record Store Day, considering she's the ambassador this year, but instead we're just getting her song The Lakes on a 7-inch vinyl. It looks like we're getting the album version on one side and the original version on another side, which I'm not sure what the difference is, but there's only 10,000 copies of this, and if I know my vinyl, it's going to be a bloodbath to get one of these. So if you really want it, get up early. We also have the traditional Bowie pressings this year. He has 2 releases, the Brilliant Adventure EP and the Toy EP, subtitled You've Got It Made with All the Toys. The toy one's pretty cool because that one's actually from his Lost album that was just released, I believe, late last year. I gave it a listen. It was okay. I think it was shelved for a reason, and the Brilliant Adventure isn't really the era of Bowie that I'm most interested in, but if you're a Bowie completionist, these 2 releases are definitely for you. Also, big news, Future's Dirty Sprite 2 is finally getting a reissue. I believe the only other time this was pressed was by Vinyl Me Please back when it came out around, I think 2014. But we're finally getting a reissue of this. This fetches some insane prices on Discogs right now, so I'm very glad that this has come to quell the marketplace a little bit. I've actually never listened to this album, but songs like Thought It Was a Drought, F Up Some Commas, just classic hip-hop songs. And I believe this album established the trap sound for a lot of artists. So yeah, influential album getting released on Record Store Day. What more could you want? And speaking of influential hip-hop artists, we have Nicki Minaj's Beam Me Up Scotty mixtape. This was just released on streaming services last year. This is, I believe, the mixtape that really got her popular. You have Drake and Lil Wayne and Gucci Mane, very high-profile features. And also something I've never listened to, but everything I've heard is that it's a very fun album, among one of her best. So yeah, if you want to get this, 3,000 copies it says only, so this one might be a little hard to get to. And continuing our theme here of influential hip-hop artist, Childish Gambino's 2014 EP Kawaii is finally getting a vinyl pressing. It's a pretty short EP, but it contains one of his most popular songs, Sober, so if you are a Childish Gambino fan, this is one to get. 18,000 copies, so hopefully it won't be too hard to come across, but yeah, it's exciting that this is finally on vinyl. Also, we're getting another Foo Fighters release this year. It's a 7-inch with 2 reworked versions of songs from their most recent album, Making a Fire, which is a Mark Ronson re-version, and Chasing Birds by the Preservation Hall Jazz Band. I'm not sure how hard this is going to be to find. I know last year their Bee Gees cover record is now fetching some insane prices on the aftermarket, and that had quite a large pressing number if I remember right, but this one's limited to 9,500, and it doesn't actually feature the Foo Fighters. It just kind of covers of Foo Fighters songs, so very unclear how popular this is going to be, I guess, in the long run, but if you're a big Foo Fighters fan, I would recommend checking this out. And following the Life Aquatic pressing we got for Black Friday last year, we're getting the official soundtrack to the Royal Tenenbaums. Yet another great movie, yet another great soundtrack, and yet another, hopefully, great vinyl reissue. And you know what? I'm going to call it there. Thank you for listening. Is there anything you're excited for on Record Store Day that I didn't mention? Please let me know in the comments. I will look at it, respond to it, love it, heart it, all of that business. You guys are great. Thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. I always can never believe that people do it. So yeah, you guys will always be in my heart and be written into my will, actually. You're going to inherit parts of my will now. So congratulations. Bye!